It's your boy Ty back here with another video. And in this video today, guys, we're gonna be doing a tier list of the Ruby cards in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Now, a lot of people might be asking, Ty, are you ranking every Ruby in MyTEAM? No, I'm gonna rank most of Season 2 Rubies, a lot of the new Evos, and if there is anybody I forgot, I do apologize for that. Got about 50 guys to go through and rank, and hopefully I can get through it relatively fast for you guys. Bob Love up first. Bob Love, I don't mind Bob Love, man. I feel like Bob Love plays defense. He can knock down shots. I feel like the problem with Bob Love and a lot of these Season 2 rewards is just the fact that, look, the Season 2 rewards, they weren't hyped up because they were all Rubies. But for the Ruby tier, they weren't bad. Bob Love, he's fine. He can play at pretty much every level. Dan Marley up next. I mean, let's be honest. Another Ruby reward that isn't super hyped up, but isn't horrible on the court. I mean, there are some horrible reward cards, and we'll go through and talk about them, but Bob Love, Dan Marley, they're not horrible at all. Both of those cards can play at a relatively high level. Then we see a Raymond Felton up next. And if you want to talk about a garbage man in my team, it is Raymond Felton. This card does nothing on the court at a high level. I mean, what does Raymond Felton do for us? Absolutely nothing. I can't sit here and sugarcoat things with Raymond Felton. I am not a fan of this card at all. He is a bona fide scrub. Christian Laettner up next. He's a bona fide scrub too. Not as much of a scrub as Raymond Felton. I mean, look, they're both not good. I gotta be honest with you. But if it came down to it, I do think Christian Laettner is more playable than a guy like Raymond Felton. Alonzo Mourning, still to this day, is really solid for what he provides for us on the court. Now, I'm going to rank these by positions or in order of positions. I still don't mind Alonzo Mourning, because if you want a center that can go out there and compete and knock down the occasional three ball, Alonzo Mourning can do that. Now, do I love Alonzo Mourning? Do I think he's the be-all, end-all? No, but he is solid enough to play, and I think B tier is the right spot for him. Cliff Robinson, I do believe, is going to be our first A tier, possibly even into S tier Ruby. When it comes down to Rubies, I don't know if there's going to be many better than Cliff Robinson. Now, there's one on the top of my mind who probably is going to be better, but that's the only guy I think I can think of right now. So for now, I'm actually going to move Cliff Robinson into S tier because I think he is absolutely elite. De'Aaron Fox, I'm going to put into C tier. First of all, nobody has De'Aaron Fox. Nobody grinded for the card. Second of all, if somebody did grind for him, I mean, I haven't really heard about him because nobody uses De'Aaron Fox because I don't think the card's very good. C tier, where it belongs. Jose Calderon, I mean, decent height at the point guard. I'll throw him into C tier. I don't love him. I mean, he's a Season 2, I think, salary cap reward. Nobody really has him because Terry isn't that good at the small forward position anyways. I mean, he's fine. Nobody's really going to hype up Jose Calderon, and I don't think anybody would even care if I would have left him off the list in general. Next up, guys, Minnesota Mike Conley. He's F tier. I think he's better than Raymond Felton, but he's still really bad. F tier is where Minnesota Mike does belong. Bruce Bowen, card I really do not mind. B tier, which his badges were maybe overall a little bit better, but from top to bottom, Bruce Bowen is not bad in my team at all. Eddie Johnson up next. I think Eddie Johnson deserves A tier. As far as just an overall shooting guard, I don't mind Eddie Johnson. Can knock down shots, can attack the rim, plays decent defense. A tier for Mr. Eddie Johnson. Joakim Noah up next. I know he can't shoot the ball, and so is he as good as Alonzo Mourning? A lot of people would say no, but Joakim Noah still competes at a pretty high level. I think B tier is where he belongs more than a C tier. Juan Toscano up next. I don't hate the card. I think he's deserving of C tier, though. I mean, again, he was a free card, a 3-minute grind, so I mean, I can't hate on him because he was usable for that. But is he, like, great? Is he a card I'm going to sit here and hype up? No, I got him at C tier. Phil Jackson, not horrible, but I do think he is C tier as well. Look, Phil Jackson, maybe this is a maybe. Maybe was our best token reward that we saw this season. I mean, when you look at all of the token rewards, none of them were good. And honestly, if you didn't go and get, or if you didn't want to, if you didn't really care, don't really care about getting ultimately SGA, hopefully you used your tokens on something more wise than a guy like Phil Jackson. Jin up next. I think as far as big men are concerned, he's probably the best one out of Alonzo Mourning and Joakim Noah. I'm going to put him at A tier. You guys might disagree. I don't think he's quite to Cliff Robinson level, but if you got him in salary cap, you got a really good big man. Chris Morris up next. Now, I know my gameplay with Chris Morris wasn't great, but I'm still going to put the card at A tier. When you look at his SIGs, when you look at his animations, his 6'8 height, his 6'8 frame, I think he's a step above a guy like Bruce Bro and right up there with a guy like Eddie Johnson. I do think I like Eddie more. But both cards, in my opinion, do deserve A tier. Giannis Antetokounmpo is still A tier, and it's crazy to think he was basically our first card out. But I mean, again, you had to pay for him. I think A tier is where he belongs. I still think Cliff Robinson overall is better just because he has the ability to knock down shots a little at a little higher clip, but I do think both cards give you relatively the same thing on the court. Petrie up next. I mean, Petrie once upon a time was a cheese ball. This year, he's fine. B tier, I do believe, is where the card belongs, though. Detlef Schrempf up next. And the thing with Detlef is, he's not nearly as overpowered as he once was. Like, last year, he had a really good release. This year, it's not great. I'm going to put him at C tier. A lot of people might disagree with me on that, but I just don't think, I don't know what he does at a high level. Jeff Hornacek, look. What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to hype up about Jeff Hornacek? He's not very good. D tier guy I do really like is Derek Anderson. And I kind of want to put Derek Anderson all the way up here at A tier. I know he's only 6'5", and I've only used Derek Anderson one time, and it was in salary cap. But trust me when I say he did not disappoint. I was really impressed with what Derek Anderson provided on the court. Played decent defense, playmaker-wise was fine, and he just knocked down shots for me. A tier for Mr. Derek Anderson. Joe Smith up next. I know he has good size. I just don't think he shoots the ball that well. I just think from the whole picture, I mean, he's just not great. I'll give him B tier because, again, he does have decent size on the court. But outside of that, I mean, does he really do a ton for us? My answer is no. You guys might think differently, but my answer is no. I don't think Joe Smith does a ton outside of that. Dave DeBusschere up next. He can't shoot. How am I supposed to hype up Dave DeBusschere when the card literally can't shoot? Somebody came in my stream the other day and said, Ty, Dave DeBusschere would be so good if 2K would have given him a 3-ball. You know what? You're right, but 2K didn't, so the card stinks. Sharif up next. I'm going to say it right now. Everybody is sleeping on Shareef Abdur-Rahim. Now, why is everybody sleeping on Shareef? It's because the whole set we got on Friday or on Wednesday was so stinking good. From top to bottom, the set was absolutely elite. There's not one card that we got that I'm like, okay, this card is not good. From top to bottom, it was so outside of maybe Yusuf Nurkic, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. From top to bottom, the set was absolutely elite. And Shareef was one of the main guys that I looked at, and I was like, wow, this card can play. Buddy Hield up next. I'm not the big Buddy Hield stand in my team. I'll go C tier. He still has a decent 3-ball, but don't love the card. Yusuf Nurkic, I guess I'll throw him at B tier because, again, he can shoot the ball. I guess he competes on the interior. I just don't think he, I don't know. Maybe I'm scarred from using him in play now, but I just don't know if Yusuf Nurkic, as far as a whole entire card, as far as the full picture, is what people want him to be. I don't think, even as a stretch big, he's elite. Wes Unseld up next. I think if we're talking about at the power forward position, I'd take him over Phil Jackson. I've used Wes Unseld before in my team. I like his release. He's just undersized. Like, if you want to find a downside to Wes Unseld, you can, because the card is definitely undersized. But outside of that, he does a lot well for you on the court. Danny Manning up next. I mean, am I supposed to sit here and hype up Danny Manning? I'll give him C tier, but I don't know. I don't love Danny Manning. I just don't see it with the card. Maybe he's a tier higher. I don't know. Danny Manning to me is just not great though. Serge Ibaka is great. I'm going to throw Serge Ibaka at A tier. Some people might think I'm gassing Serge, but even when you think about stretch bigs, give me Serge Ibaka over Yusuf Nurkic 100 times out of 100. I think he's way more of a complete card, complete player. Now, maybe I'm just being biased, but that's my opinion. TJ Warren. I'm sorry, TJ Warren. I just don't know with you. I mean, I grinded your challenges because I needed to do it for Bron. I just am not a fan of you. Throwing you a D tier is a little disrespectful, so I will give you C tier. Just know, TJ Warren, I'm not a big-time fan of you in my team. Michael Ray Richardson up next. Now, Michael Ray Richardson can play. When you're talking about Ruby point guards, is he not the best? I mean, honestly, when you talk about Ruby point guards, name me a better one than Michael Ray Richardson, who's going to defend at an elite level, offensively going to be good enough. Am I saying he's the best? No. but I think he's good enough to play, and I'll give him S tier. Xavier McDaniel up next, and I think for Xavier McDaniel, I really like the card. I'm going to go A tier with him because even at the small forward position, I think he's better than Joe Smith and Bob Love. I mean, Bob Love might be better than him, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hyping up Xavier McDaniel off what he's been in the past. I'm actually going to move him down to A tier because he's only 6'7" this year. In the past, he's been 6'9". Just don't think he's quite as good. Tyrese Maxey, a bona fide scrub. And don't get me started about me pulling him out of that at a Thanksgiving event. Do not get me started on that because that's going to make me mad. Next up, guys, Dino Raja. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the Dino Raja stands out here. This year is not Dino Raja's year as of now in my team. C tier, and that's giving him the benefit of the doubt. A lot of these Evo cards are going to be pretty high on this tier list, so just keep that in the back of your minds. Josh Okogie, I'm going to go B tier. I like Josh Okogie, though. Good dribble style, knockdown shots, great defense. So what is the problem with Josh Okogie? Well, he's only 6'4". And if you're only 6'4", I can't really give you the benefit of the doubt. I think B tier is where Mr. J.O. does belong. Wendell Carter Jr. up next. I'm going to go B tier with him too. I don't think he's quite as good as Serge Ibaka, although you could probably make that case. I just think Wendell needs a little bit more. They did improve his speed. He can shoot the ball. Actually, I'm going to go A tier. I'm sorry. I think with Wendell's new Evo, I can see A tier with the card. Karis LeVert up next. With his Evo, I'm going to go B tier. Right there with Josh Okogie. Not the elite of the elite when it comes down to Evos, but he's not bad either. I mean, there are some bad cards. There are some bad Evos. I definitely agree, and I definitely understand that. But I do not think that Karis LeVert Evo is bad. I think it's one you can definitely use. Jonas Valanciunas up next. His second Evo did nothing for the card. I'm going to go B tier with Joe Val. I actually really enjoyed his Evo, his first Evo to a Sapphire. But the second Evo, the one to a Ruby, just really was not great. Malik Monk up next. He's a bona fide scrub, man. He doesn't play defense. He's 6'3". I mean, how am I supposed to sit here and hype up Malik Monk? I don't know. Maybe you guys can, because I absolutely cannot do it. I don't know how I'm supposed to. Derek White up next. And at the time I'm recording this, he still is a Ruby. Again, we'll see. He might get another Evo. He's S tier though. The best point guard when it comes down to Rubies in the entire game. I just talked about Michael Ray Richardson. I really hyped the card up, but I'm sorry. Michael Ray Richardson compared to Derek White, to be honest with you guys, it's not even a comparison. Derek White is so much better. Bobby Portis up next. Got a good release. His Evo is nice. A tier for Bobby P. You want to argue S tier, go ahead, because he can stretch the court, plays decent enough defense. For me, I just think a guy like Cliff Robinson or even Sharif at the power forward position is going to give you more right now than Bobby Portis Jr. Now, you guys might disagree if you had a lot of success with Bobby Portis Jr., and that is totally fine with me. Tobias Harris did get a defensive Evo update the other day. He's not bad. I still think B tier is as high as I can go. Release is on quick, which is not bad, definitely serviceable, but B tier for Mr. Tobias Harris is as high as I can go. Nas Reed up next. Gonna see another Evo for Nas, hopefully hopefully by the time you guys are seeing this. I think B tier for Nas is where he belongs. I don't know, man. I feel like if Wendell is A tier, so is Nas. I'm gonna go A tier with Nas, and you guys can call me biased, call me whatever you want, but I think that's what he deserves. And hopefully, again, Nas gets another Evo. Again, I'm actually recording this video on Thanksgiving on Thursday. I'm not exactly sure when it's gonna get released. So again, if you see it on Saturday, whenever, hopefully Nas has another Evo. KCP, this was the guy I was talking about that is, in my opinion, the best Ruby in my team. Derek White definitely has something to say about it, but I'm telling you, KCP is so elite at that shooting guard position, in which, in my opinion, as far as budget shooting guards, it's not that deep and it's not that strong. Like, when I think of budget shooting guards, I don't even know who crosses in my mind. Kyle Korver, like, KCP is so much better than him at this stage. Taylor Horton Tucker, this card is a bona fide scrub. Throw him right in there with Malik Monk. The card can absolutely not play. Dorian Finney-Smith can play. He's going all the way into A tier, maybe even S tier. I'm sorry, but when you talk about 3-and-D guys in my team, DFS is absolutely elite. Now, is he as good as Sharif? That's the big time problem, because I think I like Sharif's release a little more, but I'm telling you, DFS is so silky smooth in my team. Caleb Martin, I'm next. I'm going to go B tier, I think, with Caleb Martin. I like the card. It's just his dribble style is not great. His release isn't next level good, and he's only 6'5". So even if you compare like Dorian Finney-Smith to Caleb Martin, I think as far as a full card, DFS just gives you way more. Last but certainly not least, Harrison Barnes. Post Evo with HB, I'm a fan, and I'm going to throw him into A tier. Why am I a fan of HB post Evo? It's a good release, plays good defense, obviously he's going to knock down shots, and he's just a really solid small forward in my team. Again, not going to be like the most hyped up card, but if you do have Harrison Barnes, let's say you pulled him, whatever else, he can definitely play for you guys in my team. That's going to wrap it up for our tier list today. I'm eager to hear your guys' thoughts on it down below in the comments. Sorry for no face cam. Hopefully the video quality is solid. Again, I'm recording this in a hotel on my laptop, which I normally do not use. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.